Thank you all for joining us here on We Are Iowa Plus. I'm Dana Searles, back this week to recap everything happening in Week 13 at the state legislature. It was a week full of getting bills past the finish line and sent to the governor's desk. But this week was headlined around public school funding. School districts now know how much money they will get from the state for the next school year. Now, this comes after the House and Senate had been in a disagreement over how much to increase funding by. The House got on board with the Senate's proposal, passing an increase of 2% per student. House Republicans said the delay came because they wanted to offer more for Iowa's schools, while Democrats claimed school districts couldn't wait this long and already had to propose increased tax levies.
And let's be clear, the last time Iowa saw a real cut to school funding was 15 years ago under a Democratic trifecta. That's not our record. Our record is growth.
It is simply unacceptable to say that it's okay to give 2% of new money to our public schools and 44% increase to our private schools. It simply shows our priorities are wrong.
The amended bill also includes a 5% increase per student for the amount of money districts will receive to pay for its transportation costs. And despite the increase, the Iowa Association of School Boards still says some districts need more and will now have to figure out other ways to meet budget goals. The organization said 140 school districts will be on the budget guarantee list next year. That means they'll have the same amount of funding as this year, but since they'll be short on state aid, they'll have to make that up through property tax increases.
They'll be making decisions about whether they can hire additional staff, whether they need to cut back on some programming or look for alternative ways to do that.
Districts have to send their finalized budgets to the state by the end of this month. This bill is now awaiting Governor Reynolds' signature. Meanwhile, another bill concerning education is now heading to Governor Reynolds' desk. This one is about teacher pay. It initially overwhelmingly passed the House and unanimously passed the Senate this week. If signed, the bill implements small language changes in current law to make sure teaching salary increases from last year are being implemented properly. It would also put into law that teachers who retire can return to the classroom and receive a minimum salary of $50,000. Emotional reaction from first responders and the families of those lost to cancer at the Capitol this week. That what you just saw was moments after the Senate overwhelmingly passed a bill that expands disability coverage for Iowa's firefighters, police officers, and emergency medical service providers. Right now, only 14 of the more than 200 known cancer types are covered. If this new bill is signed into law, it will redefine the term cancer to cover all types under Iowa's presumptive disability law. It was just over a year ago that the Senate could not get on board with similar legislation aimed at expanding the definition of cancer in Iowa, but members of the Des Moines Local 4 Union and the families of those lost to cancer in recent years refused to give up. Every time this bill was discussed, the spouses of Mike Broderick and Brian Stokes made the trip to the Capitol, sharing their family's story. Both men died of cancers not covered under state law, forcing them to work while receiving treatment.
My son will never have to worry about if his cancer is one of the 14 covered if he gets diagnosed. They won't have to worry about finding people to cover their shifts. They won't have to worry about insurance. They'll know that the state of Iowa has stepped up and was going to take care of them the way that they had taken care of everyone in the state of Iowa.
Now, senators on both sides of the aisle also thanked those in the gallery for their service and sacrifice. The Senate amended the bill, so the House will now need to vote on the amended bill before going to Reynolds' desk. There are also a few other bills we have been following consistently throughout the session that are now eligible for Governor Reynolds' signature. The first bill is one of her own, which would restrict the use of cell phones in classrooms during instructional time at a minimum. It also requires school districts to adopt a policy that meets those requirements and have it ready by next school year. Now, the governor says she looks forward to signing this bill. Reynolds released a statement in response to it passing, saying in part, quote, "Iowa students deserve to learn free from the disruption of personal electronic devices to fully focus on their education." Turning to election laws, as wide-ranging election legislation made its way to Governor Reynolds' desk, the bill would ban ranked choice voting, give election workers power to question citizenship, and make it harder for candidates to qualify for a political party. Now, ranked choice voting allows voters to rank their choices in order of preference on a ballot rather than casting a singular vote. However, ranked choice voting is not used in Iowa, and this bill is looking to permanently ban it. Additionally, the bill also would allow election workers to challenge a voter at the polls on their citizenship status. Right now, election workers can question voters on their age and residency. And finally, political parties would need to receive at least 2% of the vote in the last 3 general elections. That bill made it through the second funnel deadline last week in a last-minute vote. And the final notable bill on Governor Reynolds' desk is a bill to lower the age limit to carry a handgun. The bill would drop the minimum age to carry or acquire a pistol or revolver from 21 to 18 years old. An 18-year-old would still not be able to get a permit to carry weapons. Well, that wraps up week 13 for us. At the end of this week, there are about 3 scheduled weeks left of this legislative session. Thank you all for joining us here on We Are Iowa Plus. We will see you back here next week.